From icy holes to missing crusaders, today's list is full of some icy, cold case mysteries. So don your toque and join me, Rachel Fisher, as we review our list of top 10 Arctic Circle mysteries that will never be solved. Or will they? We just don't know. Number 10. Levanevksky's flight. The mystery of how Levanevksky's flight ended up lost in the first place isn't really a mystery. In 1937, a Soviet pilot named Sigismund was tasked with being the first pilot to fly a passenger plane over the North Pole. A project that should have taken a full year ended up being rushed into 3 months because they wanted to impress Stalin. Unsurprisingly, right from the start, the right engine was emitting smoke after it took off, which engineers said would stop. Well, it didn't. And 19 hours later, they attempted to make an emergency landing. But where the case gets interesting is that despite Russian, Canadian, and American rescue efforts combing the Arctic, there was not a trace of them to be found. The likeliest answer is that the plane sank into the icy depths, which they searched, but still nothing. A magnetic anomaly was detected at the bottom of a lake, but that was the only evidence ever found. They still didn't find the crash, so wherever they are, may they rest in peace. Number 9. The monster of Lake Iliamna. The ocean is not the only place in the world we don't have all the answers to. Loch Ness has Nessie, Alaska has the monster of Lake Iliamna. Reportings of a massive creature in the lake have been found from planes flying over it since the 1940s, as well as fishermen have seen some weird things. Traditionally, locals didn't fish in the lake because they thought it was dangerous because of this. There is some speculation that the creature they are seeing are white sturgeon fish, a breed of fish that used to be able to reach about 20 feet long, but nobody has ever found proof. So it could be a Greenland shark or the similar sleeper shark. Sturgeons are typically white and silvery, and many report the monster being black or dark in color. But evidence of neither shark breed have been found in the lake, so what is it? So the monster remains a mystery, sighting after sighting, without anyone getting a close enough look. Number 8. The disappearance of Henry Hudson. The Northwest Passage. Does anybody know that Stan Rogers song? It's a great song. The elusive pathway to the Orient that would lead whoever found it to treasures beyond imagining. It would just be a great trade route. While it currently exists today, many men died trying to find it or disappeared. Thus begins the mystery of Henry Hudson. Hudson was an English explorer who vanished in 1610 while he attempted to find this elusive pathway. Only rumors, theories, and some clues remain of him now. Hudson made several attempts at finding it, and at one time thought he succeeded when he sailed what is now known as the Hudson Strait. His ship, the Discovery, got stuck in the ice, and he promised the crew they'd sail back when it had thawed. But he lied, which blew up into a full mutiny. The mutineers put him, his sons, and some other members of the crew, with warm clothes and some food, which is very nice, into a small boat, and they were never seen from again. Some say they ended up in Danby Bay, some say they died on the island of Spitsbergen, or that they were captured, but still to this day, no one knows exactly what happened to Henry Hudson and his sons. Number 7. The Baffin Island Vikings. Canadian archaeologist Patricia Sutherland led a dig in 2012 in the north of the Arctic Circle on Baffin Island. She and her team found whetstones containing traces of copper alloy, materials that were foreign to the Inuit but were used by Vikings. This dig was prompted by the discovery of 2 strands of cloth in 1999, identical to the yarn Norse women made. This led Sutherland to believe that there was a strong Norse presence in the Arctic and would have been involved with trade. While it is a fact that Vikings actually lived on the east coast for a while, the real mystery surrounds Sutherland. While undergoing her research, she was fired out of nowhere from her post at the Canadian Museum of History. She says it's because they didn't want to fund a project that didn't support British voyages, while the museum was like, no, you harassed people and you suck to work with. That's not cool. What is the truth? Probably the latter. There was an 18-month investigation by an independent third party that determined it as harassment, but still, who do we believe? Who do we believe? Number 6. The Eagle Flight. Equipped with chocolate cake, a hydrogen balloon crafted of the finest varnished silk, and a whole lot of guts, Salomon August Andre attempted to reach the pole. He was a young Swedish engineer with big ideas for balloon technology in the 1870s. At that time, no expedition had ever succeeded in reaching the North Pole, and Salomon thought hydrogen balloons were the way to go. His balloon, the Ornen, the Eagle, was built in Paris with full financial backing from the Swedish king. By July 1897, Andre, Knut Franknell, and Nils Strindberg lifted off from Svalbard and were never seen alive again. The crew disappeared until 3 decades later. Geologists and sea hunters found the ruins of their camp. The skull of one of the travelers was entirely bleached white and, quote, lay there smiling dreadfully, unquote. According to the diary, the crew had to land 65 hours later and survived quite well for a while because they had chocolate cake and that's great. But when they attempted to reach Franz Josef Island, they failed and were lost on their return. But what exactly happened to them, we don't know. One of them might be attacked by a polar bear. There's just no way of knowing. They could have starved, probably. That might have happened. Let's move on. Number 5, Zeleny Yar. In 2014, a fantastic yet grim discovery was made in the Siberian Arctic. 34 shallow graves, 11 bodies shattered and crushed, plus 8 mummified bodies were shrouded in copper and wrapped in fur were found. All of them were buried pointing to the Gorny Poli River. With the extravagant burial process this community went to, archaeologists still aren't sure who they were. Who was this lost culture? They do believe that the mummification was an accident brought on by the non-oxidizing copper placed with the bodies. A year later, another set of remains were found in a birch bark cocoon, and inside was a small boy. So many questions swirl about this discovery, but as of yet, there is no clear answer. Research is ongoing though. Number 4. Rain versus snow, aka rain snow? This mystery is boggling scientists, and if they don't solve it, it could have detrimental effects on Arctic wildlife as it already has. It's definitely one of the weirdest things to happen due to climate change. In the northern area, snow slowly turns into rain, but instead of melting snow, it seeps into the cracks underground. This snow/rainwater seeps through and forms a solid frozen layer of soil, like a thick shield which blocks vegetation. This is a massive problem for animals like the muskox, as their food source is no longer available. It is due to this phenomenon that 20,000 of them starved to death in 2003 due to rain snow on Banks Island in Canada. They even tried to find food on floating ice but drifted away. I hope this issue gets solved, but based on the lack of change we are making towards hindering global warming, it may never be. Number 3. Mysterious craters. So if you watch the ice melt in your drink, you can sometimes see little holes pop in through the top. So when I came across this so-called mysterious craters popping up in Siberia, I thought it was just melting ice. I'm no scientist, but with global warming, that makes sense. Since the 1960s, the largest one of these craters was discovered and retreats 15 meters every year. But it gets even stranger when on June 28, 2017, locals noticed flames and columns of smoke near the village of Sakaya. The same area, 10 new craters were discovered. There are some pretty wild theories about what they are. Of course some involve aliens. They say the holes are left by UFOs finally emerging from the ice. Or that they're gates to other worlds. I don't know. A more scientific explanation are the methane reserves trapped in the ice exploding. There's still more research to do. Number 2. Inventio Fortunata. The Inventio Fortunata was a travel log that helped many European explorers map the pole. Thing is, no one knows who wrote it. It was allegedly the description of a voyage by a Franciscan priest from Oxford, but it changed hands so many times no one is sure. In 1360 it was presented to the English crown, and then someone lost it. Then a Dutchman named Jacobus Canoyen included information from it, but then his travel book got lost. Luckily, his version was quoted, so we have some idea of what the Fortunata actually said about the pole, but we have no idea where the original might be. The influence of this mysterious document lasted all the way up to the 17th century, but it was a huge reason researchers were able to map it in the first place. But who wrote it and where did they go are two questions that remain. And last but not least, the Alaska Triangle. Just sliding into the Arctic Circle, we have the freezer burn version of the Bermuda Triangle. A massive expanse of icy terrain in Alaska where many have gone and few have returned. This 32,000 square mile area has claimed the lives of 16 to 20,000 people since the 1980s alone. From hikes to passenger plane crashes, no one who has disappeared in the Alaska Triangle has ever been recovered. The disappearance of Majority Leader Hale Boggs is the most famous case, as it launched one of the largest rescue operations the US has ever seen. In 1972, he and his plane vanished over the Alaska Triangle, and despite 39 days of searching, the use of 40 military aircrafts and 50 civilian planes, not a trace of him was ever found. No debris, evidence of collision, or remains, nothing. Even before Boggs in the 1950s, 44 passengers and the pilot disappeared, and in the 1990s, a Cessna 340 carrying 4 people also vanished. The Alaska Triangle could very well be the largest mass grave in the world, and who knows if any of the bodies will ever be found. And that was our video for today, guys. If you liked it, remember to smash that like button, subscribe, comment, tell us your theories on these crazy mysteries. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher, and until next time, take care. Canadian archaeologist Patricia Canada! It's fine. It's not the end of the day for me, and I'm totally not fried. Equipped with chocolate cake, a hydrogen balloon crafted of the... A hydrogen balloon...